Hello everybody, welcome back to the world of me. My name's Cougar and this is another episode from our Amazon review series. We've got another product in today, an actual fishing product here, and as you can see here, this is a wireless fish finder. Now this is by Lucky, and I don't know if that means they're lucky if you find a fish or not, but alright guys, so here we go. We've got a handful of products right here, and well, pieces I should say, and of course you have your two main units. You have your handheld unit here, and you have your sonar, your float. Let's go ahead and go through all the smaller pieces. We've got the instructions here. They're in English as well as something else. I'm not quite sure which language this one is. We have what should be the neck strap, and it is just basically a kind of a standard nylon neck strap. It has a little cord there to tie it to the unit, and then you can do the quick clasp to take it off there, and snap it back on so you don't lose the unit. We have the charger, which uses a micro USB, so of course, for many phones that's what you use. You can of course use this, or you can use maybe your phone charger to charge it, and that goes not only with the handheld unit but also with the float there, with the sonar. Now it does have a second cap here, which is, I believe, this piece right here. That is for, I think, and that's where the buttons and everything are. So we would take a look, and underneath here, once we get to looking at it, I'm sure that's what that's for. But you have a second one that's clear, so maybe you can see whatever's going on inside there. They did give us two different chargers. They did give us a wall charger, a standard US wall charger, as well as a car charger, and this is a very low profile USB car charger. Now something else they did give us was these little snaps here. They do have a simple little snap there, and then they have this little kind of it's a little bit different than a standard ring would be. It has yellow on one side and black on the other. I don't know if that's something specific. It doesn't really turn, but if you're just fishing a line through there, the line's just going to pivot around inside of there anyhow. And then of course there is the float and the handheld again. Take a look at the float here. We'll unscrew the top, and it does have a water seal there. The top right there is easy to get on and off. It has kind of that screwdriver kind of slot there that is big enough for something like a quarter or some type of coin to be able to get in there and pull that out. There is, looks like there's a couple of LEDs inside there, as well as looks like the white piece would be the USB cover, and then we got two other little plastic things here. Oh, buttons. And I'm guessing, okay, well, it looks like this one is the one maybe for it to be turned on, as it has that flashing blue light there. So there's that one, and then what's the other one do? Oh, and there we go. Then you have the LEDs at the bottom. Now these LEDs, they do help to see where the float is if you are fishing at night, but also this is supposed to be kind of a fish attractant. Now it does have these two little like probe things like right here, and that's what I believe they are probes. This is supposed to tell you the water temperature, though I don't know how accurate it was. The one thing I did notice on the site is that people did complain that it wasn't really great on the water temperature as to figuring out how warm it was. They had problems where if it was in the sun or something like that, it would register really, really high. So, it's definitely something to take into consideration. Also, as I understand, it's only going to measure basically surface temperature. And then we've got the handheld unit. Now, the handheld unit, of course, has a few little things to it. It does have the little lanyard loop right there at the bottom. There's also the little rubber piece that will keep your Bluetooth connection there from getting wet. and of course that is where you charge it from. You then have a opening at the top for a connector, and there is a corded version of this, if I remember correctly, which it actually goes deeper than this one. This one goes to, I believe it was 147 feet. Then we've got a little red thing here. Oh, okay. A very, very thin antenna, which is rather interesting. But of course, with this floating around in the water, you're going to want as much signal as possible, because if a wave comes up that's a little bit high, that can block the signal and everything. So that's a nice thing there. And then on the front, it does have the 4 buttons here. It looks like directional buttons, and then a couple of maybe menu or selection buttons of some type. Okay, looks like the bottom one is the power button, it looks like. There is a startup and a simulation version here. So, of course, startup is going to be what you use when you go to use it out to fish, and the simulation may give you a general idea on what it does. Let's try the simulation. Oh, there we go. So here we go. This is what it's looking like. It's given us a color feed here, showing us what the bottom might look like. It's telling us the degrees in Fahrenheit, and you can of course change that to Celsius. You can see there's some little fish coming across there. So the depth gauge is on the right hand side here, and a little bit hard to read, but gives you a general idea. Shows you different variations in the bottom. Now the fish here, this is kind of cool, is the fish here, there is a number, and they do have, that number does seem to be kind of the depth that they're at. And also the fish, they have kind of a general size. It looks like there's a small, medium, and large size that kind of shows up on here. Now, of course, this is a very small screen. This is, I think, like a 2.8-inch screen that's on this. So, you know, it's not real big, but for a handheld unit, that's not bad. Now, at the top here, we do have three or four kind of readouts here. One of them looks kind of like your standard icon for a wireless signal, say like on a cell phone or something like that. You have what looks like it's the voltage meter over here, and it says that it is at 4.2 volts, which I guess is a full charge. So you can sit there and check the voltage and make sure that you've got charge on this and that it'll last. Then we have one over on the side here with an S, and as I understand it, I believe that would probably be the sensitivity meter. The sensitivity meter, of course, you can turn it up or down depending on water depth and what you're looking for. If it's really sensitive, you're probably going to see those small fish really easy, even like the little minnows. If it is less sensitive, you're going to wait until you see a much bigger fish, depending on how far up or down you have it turned. And then I'm sure that's also going to adjust what you see on the bottom there for what the the depth of the bottom, and then maybe what the bottom is made of. I'm sure these colors kind of give you a variation as to what that is. Okay, everybody, you can see we've got our little sensor ball there. You can hear I already have the hand unit on. We're out at a local dam here, so we're out of the water, and we're going to go ahead and pitch this. Now, one thing I decided, since we're static, I'm putting these weights on it, and I have it so they'll slide down the line, and what'll happen is they'll hit the bottom, and the bobber or the unit will float straight up from there, and then all you have to do is keep just a little bit of tension on the line, and it will hold it in place. This is kind of actually an old depth finders thing from Europe. That's how they would find the depth, is then they would measure the line out once the normally you would sink the bobber. We're not worrying about sinking it, so we just want to keep it in place. But anyhow, here it goes. We'll toss this out. We'll get it out here in the water good ways, and then we'll take a look at what we see, how many fish and everything. And let's go ahead and turn the scanner on. You can pull the little antenna out, but I don't think we really need it. I don't think it's out so far that we need it. We're in the startup mode. Let it go for a second, and then try to get this down in the shade so you guys can see it. There we go. Somewhat. I mean, that's about the best we've got right now. And you heard the beeps. Those were some fish that came across. There we go. There's some fish right there, and they're towards the bottom. Right now, the setting is for medium and large fish. We're not worried about little bait fish or anything like that. So it is telling us a little bit of information, telling us, you know, again, water depth and everything, of which the water depth here and what it's telling us should be about right for where it's at compared to the dam right there. So yeah, I think it works relatively well, but at least we're getting the fish in there, we're getting the bottom and the depth and everything, so looks like it should be pretty nice. You can see that string of fish there.